Okay, Brian, are you ready to get to the next film?
Yes, let us do this.
So, this film that we're talking about is very much an 80s premise in terms of the approach and how the horror is handled, but it's modern and it came out in 2014. It's called It Follows. This movie is pretty cool.
Oh
It
yeah.
was directed by David Robest Mitchell. So, that dude, obviously, probably a big horror fan. Especially since this, in terms of its premise, where it's about this young girl, she has sex with someone, and the guy ties her
She
up.
gets an ST demon.
Okay, Brian. She get, sure, she
I
gets a
mean, that's
demon
what it
on her.
is. It's the ST demon.
So she gets, laid. The guy transfers this demon or whatever it is on her, this like stalker who it could be anyone. You don't know who it would be. You just feel a presence. Like, could it be a ghost? Could be like something supernatural, the devil even. And it follows you and it catches you and you die. And something like that seems like it could work as like an 80s film, because there's so many uh, horror films are about like the young teenager, the girl in the suburban area who's stalked and followed by the creature. And I think it's a really cool homage to that time of horror without having to push the horror like nostalgia within your face, which I think is very prominent within pop culture anyway. What do you think? What do
Uh,
you think?
I totally agree with that. Like, like like my hipster way always says, there's a
Right.
lot of things that are really hard to recreate, and the 21st century hasn't really done a great job when it comes to like making a perfect horror film. And It Follows is, I would say, it's a perfect horror film during the time of where we're at right now. It's very amazing. I've, I think this is like my most watched horror movie of all time. I love the premise of it, and I think it's a very scary idea to just think about something so natural, uh, can like
The
be the
argument for
downfall of you.
celibacy.
Yes, you could make the argument of just just not doing it, and yeah, you
It,
basically can win the demon,
and then no one would take that argument seriously.
except for all the Christians. But so
Yeah, well,
we
they're
were
definitely not going to watch. They're either going to not watch this movie because it's sinful, or they're going to watch it because we got more ammo. We
we
got
got
more
more
ammo.
ammo.
Look what can happen.
I mean, I think there was an argument about someone saying like, "Oh, this is a real thing" or something like that when watching it. Really funny.
It
No, I
happened to me. It happened to me.
no, it's a great film, and I love it how. And I'm gonna spoil it for people who haven't watched it. I'm so sorry. But the ending is really scary. It ends off with the main girl finding her true love, because we don't know. We don't know how they're really gonna handle their sort of relationship. And then they just walk down the street, and then someone appears right from behind them, uh, and it sort of leaves you off that as the demon is sort of still either there, or they have to watch their entire life with a weary eye, thinking that someone will always come and find them.
Yeah, man, really great way to end it. Really great way to start it.
Mm,
Where the girl is really unsure of what's happening, and she calls friends, calls the cops. There are moments where she just kind of takes a break from worrying and is just taking in the information and accepting her fate on a certain level. There's a constant feeling of pursuit in the film because she is being followed constantly,
yeah.
and the extent of what she'll do to get away from this thing, really cool. And I really like the film. I love the tone of it. It's really, there's nothing campy about it.
No, yeah. Nothing.
uh, the actresses are really well, I mean, real cast. They act really well. That scene where she's tied up to the chair is pretty tense,
Oh, yeah.
in the car and shit.
I was also gonna say the whole color scheme of the film itself is,
Oh yeah.
that's the one thing I really hate about most films when they want to get that sense of dramaticness. They like make everything blue and dark, and like Twilight, or like other weird films that sort of like, oh, if we just put a lot of blue saturation, it will just make everything really dark and depressing. But it
Hmm.
works here because this woman has to watch her back for her entire life and has to figure out like, oh, do I have to commit, on a relationship with someone in order for them to die so I can keep on living, or should I just die and end it off
Yeah.
right here?
Yeah, there's that whole thing, like, you know, intimacy kind of took her out morally in the way, and it was a really cool conflict for her as a character because I mean, it's really hard to decide,
Yeah.
whether you keep this thing lit going and you want to save yourself, but the thing is, if you tell someone about it, if you start making a chain of people to just transfer this thing, I mean, at first you'll sound like a lunatic, and then you'll just be put away and eventually taken. It's
Yeah.
and I love also the fact that you don't really see the thing.
Yeah, me too.
Always in the distance.
Mhm.
Kind of similar to how the Terminator, how Arnold in the first Terminator film, and even Robert Patrick, they'd walk a lot,
Mhm.
and then they'd be intimidating just because they were walking instead of running, being
Yeah.
like pursuing you, stalking you. Really fucking, really wild.
No, yeah, and I think that's a very '80s sort of monster gimmick sort of thing. It's that sort of slow walk that gives out that sort of certain scare because it's confidence within the monster itself, knowing that it will kill you. It doesn't have to run fast; it will just find you no matter what.
Predatory.
Predatory.
Okay.
Predator.
We needed Arnold in this film. If it bleeds, we can kill it.
If it bleeds, we can kill it.
Arnold would make this movie better. Arnold would make a lot of movies better.
Arnold would make everything better, except for California.
The governor. Why
I'm
don't
the
we, hey
governor.
Donald? Why don't we switch jobs? Let's take it to the meat grinder. The horror, the 31 more days of horror. Yeah. I believe that every man after dinner should have a stogie.
Stogie. You're embarrassed because you have to go in the back and smoke, but I'm eating dinner with my stogie.
My wife won't say anything because the father's always right. What?
My mom won't say anything because I met another woman.
The maid said it was okay, and the Clinton.
Clinton.
Every day I finish my day with a cigar.
Every day I finish it with a stogie. Only real men have stogies.
I don't take shit from no one. I'm a stogie man. Stogie man gets to the chopper with the stogie in the hand and the little donkey. Get down with the sickness and the COVID.
And then you get down with the sickness.
It follows, I shoot.
It follows, I shoot. Can we, is this official Joke Movie Podcast merch?
That's the sequel.
It Follows, I Shoot.
I'm actually pitching It Follows 2, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger, except it's called Arnold Follows.
Arnold Follows?
Put that cookie down before I follow you. I don't even know what accent I'm doing anymore.
Yeah, me too, man. All right.
I follow the monster because it doesn't look like me. It's not my child.
It's not the child. I have to take my monster to Christmas shopping. I don't want to be here.
It's all a bunch of commercialism.
What should I do, mailman?
Buy our Christmas presents after Halloween is bullshit. Bullshit.
This is bull.
Whenever it starts to follow, I say, get your ass to Mars.
Oh, man. I was going to say, I just rewatched Total Recall.
Incredible.
Oh, yeah, it's amazing.
I was actually talking to Justin, my friend Justin, about Total Recall. He messaged me randomly about the remake that they did with Colin Farrell.
Oh, yeah.
And he said, don't you think they should have done casted an Asian dude as the main character for the Total Recall remake? And I was just like, I don't think they should have remade it. I don't think they should have remade it in the first place. First movie's awesome, like incredible, frightening. That should have been involved in the 31 Days of Horror. Yeah.
Let me say, I don't know. At the end of the day, I prefer sequels more than remakes and stuff. Even though that sometimes sequels, they ruin the taste sometimes, of the original. But look at Star Wars; it made it better. and look at other films that Jurassic Park and stuff.
Ooh, Jurassic Park, man. I mean, they had
Jurassic
one.
Park 2, Lost World, man. That was
Yeah, I mean, they had. I love the first Jurassic Park. I think it's an incredible film.
oh, yeah, that's amazing.
Incredible. And the other films, they're just not there.
Yeah,
They need more Arnold. If they're going to go in the dumb action movie route, put
yeah.
in Arnold.
We have Chris Pratt. He's action movie material now.
He is, but we need
Yes,
Arnold.
yeah. Yeah, we still need Arnold.
I need
Yeah.
Arnold to wrestle a T-Rex or something.
I know to
A
fight Indominus
Velociraptor.
Rex, man.
You claw like a girly man.
I'm gonna say the newest Jurassic World movie. They had a scene where a Russian guy was buying the new Indominus Velociraptor. It would have
Yeah,
been
like
really
with
hilarious
that
if
last movie.
Arnold
What the fuck?
was the Russian buyer. I would like to buy the Velociraptor.
Give me 3 of those and 4 stogies on the side.
4 stogies on the side. I'll give you $1.5 million and the governor seat to LA.
I heard you were cloning dinosaurs. Well, clone me first.
Can you clone me?
He talks to
I
it.
mean, hey man, they cloned a little girl in that movie, so they
Yeah, I
probably
don't
could
know what
clone.
the. I don't know
That was
what
weird.
they're doing.
That was weird.
Arnold Schwarzenegger looks at a clone dinosaur and it's like, you should go clone yourself so you can go fuck yourself. Okay, time for the movie question, Brian.
Of course.
Okay, Brian. Are you
Yes.
tired of 80s
I am.
nostalgia?
I am tired. No, 80s nostalgia.
Yeah, because we seem to have a lot of it within film, television, pop culture these days. Things like Guardians of the Galaxy, Stranger Things.
Yes.
I mean, we even brought up the influence within It Follows, but I feel like It Follows took that structure and applied it to something really good. So, are you kind of tired of nostalgia of that period of time?
It's kind of hard because there's a lot of things that 80s nostalgia does make things a lot better. Like I would say, Cobra Kai is a really cool series.
Yeah.
I love it very much, but it is very heavy on 80s nostalgia.
Yes.
I wouldn't say I'm the biggest fan of Stranger Things, but I would say that the 80s nostalgia parts within it are very fun and very cool.
Yeah.
But, everything that is majorly popularized will get somewhat ruined. Like look at Rick and Morty. That was kind of ruined because of the community just made it really weird.
Oh, because they started yelling at McDonald's about
started yelling at
Szechuan
McDonald's
sauce?
people about Szechuan sauce. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think if it becomes, memes are funny, jokes are funny too, but I think there's a certain extent to, when 80s nostalgia can be somewhat ruined,
Yeah. Yeah, I like it when it's used in creative ways.
Mhm.
Like there's this really weird personality to Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, which I really like, where there's that scene where they're being chased by the gold people. Forgot their names, but they're being chased and like the ships are piloted from another ship. They're drones and they're piloted as if they were at like a video game arcade.
Yeah.
And there's that last ship that's chasing the Guardians, and everyone's crowded around it like he's the last kid at the arcade.
The last kid at the arcade, yeah.
And then when he loses, they're just like, "You suck, Zyna."
You suck.
See, I like it when it's
Leave.
I think it's good when it's incorporated that way. Stranger Things I do like, and it does make sense because it's set during that time, right?
Yeah, during that time. Yeah.
I just find it fascinating that we do have such a lot, like a really strong love for that period of time. And
I was
film
going
and
to say, we
television.
weren't even born in that time, but we at least understand the 80s. I would
Yeah.
say we understand the 80s more than the people born in the 80s.
Oh, I don't think so. I mean, I was born before the 80s. I mean, come on. But anyway.
you were born before the 80s.
Right.
Oh yeah, I totally forgot. Yeah, you're like 85.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Get it right.
Yeah.
Gen 0 or whatever it
Gen
is you are.
zero.
No, I mean, it makes sense why we would focus on it, right? Because there was a lot of great stuff that came out of that time. You know, like you had Ghostbusters and you had RoboCop and Empire Strikes Back. I mean, there's a lot of great stuff from pop culture at that time. But do you think that for us revisiting it so hard as we have been, that it might lose its lust?
Yeah, I think so. I think the overuse of something so amazing, it's, similar to like if you have like a favorite ice cream you just eat all the time, you'll get sick of it.
You'll die.
Yeah, you'll die. Yeah. You'll get diabetes and
Rocky Road.
Rocky Road. And there goes a foot, and that's it. That's how it is. You gotta.
Those will be my last words. Rocky Road. Oh.
I can just imagine you like a Pizza the Hut from Spaceball.
Oh yeah. See, that's another one from Spaceballs.
I love that movie so much, man.
You're delicious.
You're delicious.
Oh,
Pizza the Hut.
Pizza. Oh boy.
Lone Star.
Lone Star. The GOAT Podcast is proof you don't have to look any further for movie news, reviews, trailer reactions, or special discussions. Subscribe, get notified about what's going on, and I promise you'll be entertained by our daily content on YouTube. If you want more, we're on Twitter at GOAT Film Podcast, Instagram The GOAT Podcast, and the GOAT Movie Group on Facebook. Get connected with us, see what's happening, and make sure to love it while you're doing so.